Panthers fans, I got some great news for you, as you will see Jalen Coker running routes for the Carolina Panthers in 2026 at an unreal price tag. As they look to extend him long term, it won't be for big money in 2026. We got even more news to get to surrounding the free agency cycle that is really going to heat up over the next couple of days. So, this is why you subscribe here to Panthers Today. We have your Carolina Panthers covered like nobody else on YouTube heading into free agency. When the Panthers make moves, when the Panthers are rumored to be making moves, we're making videos for you here on the channel, breaking it all down. So go down below, hit that subscribe button for free Panthers content on your YouTube feed every single day. Jalen Coker has been tendered as an exclusive rights free agent for 2026. An exclusive rights free agent means that he could not speak to other teams with less than 3 years of service. He was a UDFA, and now with this tender, he will play on the league minimum salary in 2026. The Panthers getting an incredible bargain for a guy who, let's be honest, is their wide receiver too at this point in time. The Panthers and Coker will now work on a long-term extension, so really excited to see what that ends up being. Maybe something in the realm of $10-ish million a season, because look, the production has not been all the way there, especially when you consider the injury bug that's kind of hit him 2 seasons in a row. Limited to just 11 games in each of his first 2 years out of Holy Cross, by the way. What a legend for making it up out of Worcester. 478 in his rookie year, and then followed up at 394 in 2025. Honestly, a lackluster and regression type of year in year 2 for Jalen Coker. But the reason that I'm fired up about this news is because of what he did in the biggest game in Panthers history over the last decade, and that is the wild card game against the Rams. 9 grabs, a $134, 15 yards a grab, and a go-ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter over Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams. You pay guys like that. You keep those guys around that play and perform and live up to the biggest moments. And look, he gets a little bit better luck on the injury front, and this will all work out. He will break out, as a matter of fact, for this Panthers team. I expect if he plays a full 16 to 17 game schedule, then he is going to go out there and have a season where it's 600 to 700 to 800 yards, true wide receiver 2 numbers in this league. He's awesome in the middle of the field. He really works on all 3 levels. Like, I really, really like Jalen Coker here. And the next move is to extend him. Now, what contract figure will that be at? I'm not so sure, given the production and certain injury history on his tab there. So I don't know what it's going to end up being, but they don't really have to worry about that right now because they're heading into free agency. They have him under contract for next season on the league minimum. They can take this all the way until the end of the season if they'd like to work out an extension for Jalen Coker. Now, Joe Person came in with this, saying kind of what I just explained to you guys. The ERFA tender on Coker won't preclude the Panthers from potentially signing him to an extension, but that's not considered a top priority at this point, with the team preparing for free agency. It could still happen this offseason, but the Panthers are focused on signing external talent here to really raise the floor of this roster. Should they extend him, though, this offseason after everything is sorted out? Y for yes and for no. Be the general manager for me down in the comment section. Should the Panthers extend Jalen Coker right now or wait? All right. They also went out there and tendered Brycen Tremayne, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I know much about Mr. Brycen here. He didn't do too well for Carolina last year. Another guy who's in that same boat, UDFA, as Jalen Coker. 14 grabs for a $160. Had a fumble as well in those 14 receptions. So, again, it's interesting to see like a guy as productive and effective as Jalen Coker and Brycen Tremayne kind of get the same deal here. But it's just a situation that they were in as UDFAs, and the Panthers are kind of rewarded as a result of it in Coker's case. Now, let's talk about free agency for the Carolina Panthers here, because that's what Joe Person alluded to. That's what they're focused on at this point in time, and they're focused on spending some big-time money. They're a middle-of-the-pack team in terms of salary cap space at this point, but there are some top-level free agents that Carolina is targeting here, including one Devin Lloyd. Don't be surprised if the Panthers open their wallets next week for Devin Lloyd, Kayden Elliss, or one of the other top free agent linebackers. It's a position that needs to be addressed with a big swing, if not more. Here's my thing about the linebacker spot for Carolina. You have a general manager in Dan Morgan who played linebacker for this franchise. You have churned out Hall of Fame level linebacker talents in the franchise's history since 1995. You have Thomas Davis, Luke Kuechly, like Shaq Thompson was even really good for a good while here in Carolina. Like, they put out some really good linebacking talents. And it has not been that case for the past 2 seasons, man. They cannot half measure this decision. They have to go all in on this spot. It's basically been the calling card of the Carolina Panthers as a franchise. They have good linebackers. This current crop does not. Now, speaking of Devin Lloyd, Jared Feinberg said that he's the head of the Cat Crave fan side of Panthers blog. He said Devin Lloyd will probably be undoubtedly the Panthers' top free agent target when it begins on Monday. He's also the top target for a dozen other teams in the NFL. Curious to see how the market plays out and if Carolina is willing to give Lloyd the biggest linebacker deal in history. I'll tell you right now, I kind of think he deserves it. If you ask me, I believe Devin Lloyd deserves $22 million a season. He's not better than a guy like Fred Warner is right now, but he's younger than Fred Warner. He has less injury history than Fred Warner. He is signing the contract later than Fred Warner, and the production was undeniable in 2025. I mean, what type of nonsense linebacker in 2026 is getting 5 interceptions in a season? It's not happening these days. And this guy can not only pick off passes, he can take him to the crib as well. He took Patrick Mahomes 99 yards to the crib. Had 1.5 sacks. He's not going to be used as a guy who you're necessarily blitzing a ton, trying to get pressure on the quarterback. This is a guy who's going to cover the middle of the field and make tackles in the middle of the field and stop the run as well. He allowed an 84% completion rate, but a QB rating of 69.2. That's unbelievable. That's like cornerbacks don't do that. And he's been really, really good throughout his career, man. He played a little bit more in coverage in 2025 than he had in his previous years in the league, but an absolute tackling machine dating all the way back to 2022, his rookie year, where he had 115 tackles, 8 PBUs, and 3 interceptions. This is normal for Devin Lloyd. He 100%, and if you ask me, deserves to be paid as the highest paid linebacker in this league. 4 years, $88 million. Go out there and get it done, Dan. Because Devin Lloyd changes the game for Carolina. Devin Lloyd brings your identity back for Carolina. Again, though, it's going to be a bidding war. The guy said there's going to be a dozen other teams that are willing to make Devin Lloyd one of, if not the highest paid backer in this league. It's at some point, it's going to end up being probably a couple of teams with the same offer, and Devin Lloyd is just going to decide which one he wants to play his next 4 seasons in the NFL in. So they can't make Devin Lloyd sign in Carolina, but I do believe that Dan Morgan has a leg up compared to other GMs because he's played the position before, and he's played the position for that franchise. He can let Devin Lloyd know everything that there is to know about being a linebacker, the starting linebacker, the green dot guy for the Carolina Panthers. If they miss out on Devin Lloyd, they could go after a name like Kayden Elliss. I will say, though, you couldn't be looking at a more different linebacker than Devin Lloyd than with Kayden Elliss. The Panthers, we know, need to cover the middle of the field better. Devin Lloyd absolutely does that. Not so sure you're going to be asking Kayden Elliss to cover too much ground in the pass game. Did have an interception in 2025, did have 6 PBUs, but he isn't nearly the coverage linebacker that Devin Lloyd is. Certainly could tackle the heck out of opposing offensive players, can certainly make plays around the line of scrimmage, and is used as a blitzer a lot more. But, I mean, look at these stats compared to what you saw with Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd allowed a higher completion percentage, but 40 less in the passer rating department. So, take that with what you will. He's a tackling machine, no doubt about it. $150 in 2024 is absolutely bonkers, and they've used him on the edge. They can play him around the line of scrimmage. He is a very versatile linebacker in that regard, but he's not going to cover the middle of the field as well as Devin Lloyd or maybe some other better coverage linebackers in this league. He's a downhill type of guy. So, look, if that's what you're looking for, and maybe you go after a coverage linebacker in the NFL draft, then I understand that. But I'm not going to lie, I would want Devin Lloyd a little bit more. Kayden Elliss is certainly going to come cheaper than Devin Lloyd. Like, it's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, he is the fact of the matter. He is going to be cheaper. He's not going to be paid probably top 5 linebacker money, maybe middle of the pack-ish, maybe top 20 linebacker money, but it's not going to be top 1 or top 3 like Devin Lloyd is going to get. So, with that being said, pick one to sign. Knowing what you know. Don't just blindly say Devin Lloyd because he's the better player. Know that you have to pay him the most linebacker money in NFL history, and know that he is going to get around top 20 linebacker money. DL for Devin Lloyd, KE for Kayden Elliss. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section on which one you'd bring to Carolina for each of their respective prices. Remember, person said it would take a big swing if not more. I believe Carolina could look to double dip. I've kind of been alluding to it throughout the video. They could double dip at the linebacker spot and draft one early, maybe even in the first round as well. They could commit $22 million a year to Devin Lloyd, and they can go out there and get a top-level linebacker in this draft. As far as the guys they visited with at the Combine, Sonny Styles will not be available for the Carolina Panthers. I don't care any way you spin it. There's really not even a trade out there I think Carolina can make to move up into a spot where Sonny Styles will be available. Jacob Rodriguez, there's a chance he's definitely going to be available at 19, but when they get to the second round, that gets a lot more dicey. He tested so well at the Combine that there's talk and chatter that he could be a first-round pick at some point here. Genesis Smith and Dalen Everett, DBs, we don't have to talk about them too much. C.J. Allen, though, was also met with at the Combine, and he very much enjoyed talking with Dan Morgan and learning what it is to be a Panthers linebacker. As far as some other draft targets at the backer spot, if they don't go that route in round one, Jake Golday of Cincinnati, Anthony Hill of Texas. He had a solid Combine, and he was very productive. Josiah Trotter has great NFL blood. Jeremiah, his father, and his brother, Jeremiah Jr., are in the NFL players. And then Kyle Lewis, a very interesting backer out of Pitt, versatile, like hybrid safety box type of guy. I think he could cover very well, and it'd be a really nice fit for Carolina if they end up with him on day 2 or maybe even early day 3. Regardless, this team is going to look a lot different after next week, after April, and into 2026. This Panthers team won't look like a group that overachieved. It's going to look like a group with talented, productive football players that have a track record of making big-time plays and big-time moments. I really do believe this Panthers roster is going to look a lot more formidable and, honestly, like a division favorite heading into the next season with the talent that they're going to add this offseason. And I'm fired up for it. I'm going to be covering it all here on the channel. That's why you subscribe to Panthers Today. That will do it for today's show. YouTube.com/Panthers Today for the latest and greatest on your Carolina Panthers heading into free agency and more this offseason. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, keep pounding.